LinkedIn, Twitch, Periscope. Nope, not Periscope anymore. Periscope doesn't exist. LinkedIn, Twitch, Facebook, and I'm looking at the list now, and YouTube. I'm going to redo the intro because the first like 10, 20 seconds does tend to get clipped because as Restream connects to different services, I've noticed this. So let's start over. Good morning. My name is Frank Lavinia. You can catch me at the following URLs: franksworld.com, datadriven.tv, and impactquantum.com. Here's a fun fact. I actually also own franksworld.tv, so that'll route you directly to my YouTube channel. Today is Tuesday, March 15th, the Ides of March. And today, being a Tuesday, you know what that means. It's time for High Impact Tuesday. All right, so you may have noticed I kind of rearranged the furniture yet again, but I think this is a better view. It's a better view. I'm on another computer today. I'm on the docking station setup that I have, and I figured I would stream kind of early today. Maybe I'll stream later today. I have a meeting coming up in a few minutes, so I figured I would attempt to try an earlier stream to see if I get more interaction or engagement. Thus far, I've noticed lunchtime on the East Coast does seem to be about the right kind of sweet spot. So maybe, just maybe, I'll stream again today. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know below. If you're watching this live, wait, no, this way. Comments will be displayed, and if you have any questions, let me know. So far, Twitch has been most prominent for, and you see I have my canine friends who now have their little den underneath one of the desks. And but basically, I am going to talk about an interesting quote that I heard today. So if you don't know what the Ides of March is, this is the day that traditionally, I think that Julius Caesar was assassinated. I think it was like 46 BC. So considering that's 2,000 plus years ago and people still talk about it, I would say that was high impact. I don't know, though, if it was a Tuesday, but who knows? But in any case, I remember reading this in high school and the Shakespeare play Julius Caesar. And I remember the whole thing, like the Ides of March, and it was like a whole thing. But apparently, according to my teacher, that the Ides was every 15th of the month. So there was some kind of Roman religious thing that every 15th of the month, that was a thing. So that's your fun, useless fact of the day. And my dogs are now running around like lunatics, which means they could cut the power through this laptop any second. Hey, calm down. Come on, calm down. This is the fun thing about live streaming, right? So in terms of high impact, I heard a quote last night from a colleague here at Red Hat. Basically, it was a quote of big data plus big I. Let me start that over. Big data plus big AI plus big computing equals superior decision making. And I was thinking about this, and I think that it's certainly faster decision making, but in terms of AI ethics and AI, having a human in the loop, where you still have that, one would hope, sensibility. And the dogs are running around. So in case you're wondering, these are filmed live. And what was I going to say? Anyway, oh, they're knocking stuff down. Nice. So that's the dachshund and the dingo. Many of you have heard, he's not a dingo, he just looks like one. And they're putting on a show for folks. That's what it is. I'll repurpose it into content. In any case, so they are having an impact. They are having a high impact. They are excited about the Ides of March. They're excited about March Madness. They're excited about St. Patrick's Day coming up on Thursday. Maybe that's what it is. Is that what it is? All right. Well, they're quiet for the moment. So in any case, that is an interesting quote. Now, and I was kind of thinking about this, and I'm waiting for my camera to get back into focus. Thank you. And does AI? And this is probably going to be a topic of a later stream, but that obviously Ray Dalio, multi-billionaire hedge fund type guy. Clearly, he knows a thing or two. Clearly, he's got his finger on the pulse of a lot of things. And far be it from me to disagree, but I would say I have an issue with the word superior decision making. Now, in certain niche applications, which I think is the context of the quote, financial trading, high speed trading, yeah, then machines are generally, and I would say almost always, I'm sure there's an edge case because kids, there's always an edge case. I would say, yeah, he's right. I mean, it is superior decision making. When it comes to things where medicine or ethical decisions, ethical dilemmas are in play, I have issue with the term superior decision making. In all instances, big data, big AI, big computing is always going to equal to faster decision making. Is it superior? Well, if speed is the only metric, then absolutely, hands down. I mean, that's not even a question. However, if there's a ethical element, I would take serious issue with the term superior decision making. Faster, absolutely. And if you're in a situation where faster is better, then yeah. If you're in a situation where there's any kind of moral ambiguity or ethical or type of I don't want to call it consciousness concerns, because that's not quite right either. But that kind of ethical space, right? The ethical AI, which I think is going to be a growing field going forward. This would be an interesting topic for a panel discussion for the podcast, or another live stream. So if you want to be on the panel, let me know in the comments below. I'm going to see if I get Noelle Silver to be on it, because she is a big into ethics and AI. And if anyone else would like to be on it, let me know. And of course, Andy's going to be there because he'll be co-moderator. See, Andy, I volunteered you already, right? It's not even 10 a.m. and you've been volunteered. You've been voluntold. Poor Andy. Andy's my co-host and brother from another mother on both Impact Quantum and Data Driven TV. We come up with these crazy ideas all the time. So that was a crazy idea that I happened to do on a live stream. See, the dogs inspired me, them with their craziness. In other news, my thoughts and prayers still continue to go out to the folks in Ukraine. It's just, I don't know how many days it is now, but we're 2-3 weeks into this, and the trauma, the long-term mental trauma this is going to cause, even if somebody snaps their fingers and this ends today, you can't overstate it. I mean, I have personal experience from when the World Trade Center attack happened. It is definitely something that's still with me. You may notice in the background I have a painting of the New York downtown skyline prior to 9/11. So it's definitely something that this is going to impact our culture for, certainly Ukrainian culture for decades, maybe centuries, and depending how bad it gets, I guess. But it's already impacting the world. I mean, gas prices, inflation on top of existing inflation. It's just wars and rumors of war. But the best thing you can do is to find a reputable charity. And I would also recommend unplugging from the news cycle when you can, because I was just glued to the news. I had, you look at me in the monitors, right? So I had BBC, I had Al Jazeera, I had, well, I didn't have any American news outlets because those are kind of not that good. I had Deutsche Welle, the English version and the German version. I've been listening to the BBC. So actually, that would be a good. Let's do that. Let us do that. So that would be a good thing to kind of show. So if you're tired and you're not happy with the news sources that you're getting in your country of residence, then I highly recommend getting into this This is let me split the screen. All right, how do I stop it? All right, I'm going to mute that because I'm probably going to get a copyright strike on YouTube. But basically, this is called Radio Garden, and you can listen to any radio station in the world that streams. They have a pretty good thing here. What is interesting is you'll be able to listen to, you can actually go to Kiev and kind of see the radio stations that are there. I don't speak Ukrainian, but you can actually listen to what's actually happening right now. I think this is in English. I'm going to unmute.
Садибу Попова, єдину специфічну таку садибу.
Okay, so that's not in English, but there were some broadcasts in English. You can get actual, news from basically the front line. If you speak another language or you're trying to learn another language, just do a search on Radio Garden in case you're wondering where that was. I saw that comment come by, but it didn't show up on the screen. That's weird. Radio Garden, it's actually radio.garden. Didn't know that was a top level domain. But what's cool is you can listen, you can, if you're trying to learn a foreign language, you can listen to that. I've been practicing my German by listening to Hessischer Rundfunk info. If you want to find a station, let's do a search. HR info. Rundfunk means radio or broadcasting in German. Hessen is the province that's near Frankfurt, that Frankfurt's in. There you go. So you can kind of listen to what's going on around the world. A lot of good techno music if you're into that. A lot of good Europop. I would imagine there's some good K-pop too, obviously, over in Korea. Probably just do a search on that. But what's cool is that what they'll do is they have kind of these curated lists, right? So this is cool, rare languages. So just kind of get a feel for some interesting kind of old languages. One of the interesting ones here is, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but Radio Feltje. It's basically a Belfast-based broadcast in Gaelic, and different parts of Ireland had different accents and different kind of things. My maternal grandmother, was from Belfast, so I listened to this, and she didn't speak it a lot, but I picked up words and phrases. So when I'm listening to it, I can kind of pick up words and phrases, and it reminds me of being a little kid listening to her playing Gaelic and whatnot, and kind of just kind of talk to her relatives and kind of half English, half Gaelic, kind of like you have Spanglish or Franglais, so that's cool. There's also some other interesting languages. So if you're into languages, if you're kind of a language geek, I think this is an awesome resource. So it's a great website. There's also, I haven't found a good IPTV player for Windows, and unfortunately, but so what IPTV is, and maybe I'll do another stream later, is IPTV is basically internet streaming TV, right? And usually these are TV stations or news channels. There's one for Linux called Hypnotix, and it's spelled Hypnotix, I think. It came with Mint, and it was also on Fedora. It didn't come with Mint, but you just install it. And it's cool. Like, it has things listed by country, so you'll have a number of countries. Some of the feeds don't seem to work. Some of that might be geo-blocked. So I guess if I got on the VPN and kind of went there, but it's cool to watch the news. I was watching Al Jazeera. You can watch France 24. Those are all in English. Obviously, there's other foreign languages as well. Good for practicing German for me. And there was a lot of good channels there. So, and it's just interesting to get a different perspective on the news. I actually tuned in through a Belarusian news station, and obviously it was not in English, but you can kind of get the gist of what they were talking about based on what was going on, and clearly they have a different opinion. So it's interesting to kind of get those different opinions, even if it's propaganda. It's always funny to watch propaganda because you can call it out and you can see it for what it is, and it's interesting to see how this is a true war of the information age. Is that there's definitely an information aspect to it, which is why I haven't posted a lot on the situation because, who knows what's real, and given that the uh, Russian government is alleged to have a pretty good psyops or psychological operations or misinformation campaign. Even if you post something that looks positive, does that set the stage or a seed for something later? So I've decided not to reshare, repost anything I can't independently verify. And because I have plenty of other things on my plate, I can't devote to that time, right? And I'm not sure who to trust in this age of misinformation. So that's why I say if you want to do something positive, find a reputable charity, donate to it. Certainly, there's a lot of humanitarian need that's coming in the future. It's already here. 2 million refugees, which is kind of crazy. Again, who knows if that's exactly right? But I mean, the scale of the refugee crisis and the speed at which it happens isn't all that surprising because Ukraine is a developed nation with roads and highways. A lot of people own cars. When things go down, when bad things happen and people want to evacuate, this isn't like a situation where there is no existing road infrastructure, where there's no mass quantities of transport mechanisms like trains and trucks and cars. I'm not surprised at this refugee crisis. Kind of, I mean, it took a year. It took significantly longer for the similar thing to happen in Syria, um, for to get to this number of refugees. I'm not surprised just because of the availability of transport, right? And you see this all over the news. Families kind of they're sending their kids away. I mean, this reminds me of stories I would hear about London in the Blitz when they would send people, to the country, as it were. It's something that is just incredibly sad. You kind of see this and you wonder, like, you know, as someone who lived through a terrorist attack, 9/11, the shock and awe, for lack of a better term, of seeing just your regular run of the mill Tuesday. It was a Tuesday, actually. Um, just walking down the street, and then one day it becomes effectively a war zone, and no one was shelling. There wasn't the constant shelling. There was a lot of fear, but I mean, the attacks themselves were kind of confined to the AM of that day. The after effects, 20 years later, are still very real. So I just can't imagine just schools being bombed and the hospital. I don't know if schools were bombed. I heard what kindergarten was. Again, don't know if that's actually 100% true, but it seems plausible. I just hope that we can come to a peaceful resolution that will limit the human suffering, because that is real, right? Um, but beware the Ides of March. Beware the Ides of March. I had to drop for a call. I hope you have a great day. Maybe I'll stream later. Maybe I'll have the dogs on camera if they feel like getting crazy again. You have a great day.